former X Division champion and number 22 on PWP's Top 25 of 2022, Mike Bailey here, and you are listening to Pro Wrestling Proverbs with Logan and Anthony.
Now, although this is a pro wrestling podcast, you may be surprised to know that we do watch and do other things.
Really? I haven't. I've only been watching pro wrestling for 5 days a week, nonstop, since we started this.
Yeah, I couldn't do it, and I mean, to pull the curtain back a little bit, doing that almost burnt us out on the podcast. For those of you, I guess you'd say newer listeners, because at first we tried being the normal, here's Raw results, here's SmackDown results. I had a show we called Indie Impulse where I went through NWA, TNA, Ring of Honor. It was dreadful.
Yeah, it'd be fine.
To recap.
It'd be fine if we were getting paid for it, but we weren't.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But to just on our own accord have to be like, all right, I guess one of us has to watch SmackDown, and this was 2018. So I mean, it wasn't awful, but it also wasn't great.
No. It was awful.
But another big thing we like, we typically, especially right now since it's in the season, we spend probably about a good 30 minutes to an hour before recording this talking about the NFL. Fantasy league, our teams, certain players, what to expect upcoming years, that kind of thing. And with Thanksgiving right around the corner, it's actually at time of recording, the day of, I figure, a lot of NFL fans love Thanksgiving because you get those special games that honor tradition. Wrestling fans, it's that honored tradition of Survivor Series and Starrcade. So I figured it'd be a perfect time to discuss, some NFL players that became professional wrestlers, or on the other side of the coin, professional wrestlers that maybe spent a cup of coffee in the NFL.
Yeah.
We're not gonna talk about like NCAA. So sorry, Dwayne. Not gonna talk a whole lot about like the USFL or the Canadian football leagues. That eliminates like John Bradshaw Layfield.
I know. I noticed real quick when we're preparing. There isn't many like XFL WWE crossovers, has there?
No, not really.
You think there would be, like.
It makes sense.
Yeah, same company.
That'd make too much sense though. We've said it on here before. If it makes too much sense,
like
not gonna happen.
Like why wasn't He Hate Me like at SummerSlam? I don't know. That just makes too much sense. I guess you're right.
There's a big list of players that went on to have WWE careers. You've got, for modern day, I mean, big one that comes to mind, you've got Moose over in Impact TNA. He played for the Indianapolis Colts. Of course, both Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar had to spell with the Vikings.
Right.
Pat McAfee, our favorite announcer, was on the Indianapolis Colts. Of course, former Four Horsemen, Mongo McMichael, was on... I'd say undoubtedly one of the more dominant defenses of all time, the 85 Bears. Van Vader played in a Super Bowl with the Rams. You got old-timers like Cowboy Bill Watts, Fritz Von Erich, and Vern Gagne, who Dick the Bruiser as well, all played in the NFL. A lot of these guys, I know for Vern Gagne for certain, he played for the Chicago Bears, and you figure this was back, NFL players didn't have big contracts like they do today. And the story goes, he was offered a contract by Papa Bear Hallis, one of the more famous coaches of all time, and he was making more money wrestling. So he stuck with wrestling. which today that would be crazy.
Right.
With some of the contracts these people get. Like, I'm sure it'd be tough.
Well, yeah, even just like the practice squad base salary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know there was an old joke Daniel Tosh used to do where he said Brett Favre did it right, but then he did it wrong. You know, you're a starter for 20 plus years, you make all that bank. Why not be a backup for 5 more? Make a little bit more bank, and then jump down to third string for a couple years and finally end on practice squad. And at that point, you've made all this money.
Yeah. It's just,
Um,
it's just that easy for.
Yeah, it's just that easy.
Yeah. Favre can spend more time figuring out what other scams he could run on poor people during that time.
See, he wouldn't need scams if he played that for long.
He probably still would have blown all of his money, Logan. Let's be real here.
Yeah.
We better watch what we say before we get a defamation lawsuit. He handles out like a Thanksgiving plate.
Yeah. Another big name, one of the ones that comes to my mind when it comes to NFL players in wrestling. While Mongo was in WCW, I always thought Kevin Green looked a little bit better. He didn't wrestle as long as Mongo because he kept going back to the NFL. He was, of course, a Ram, a Steeler, a Panther, a 49er. He was a linebacker. He actually fought with and against Mongo in WCW. I think if he would have taken wrestling a little more seriously, he might have been considered a lot better than Mongo. But, you know, NFL is his dream. And you also have Monty Brown from here in Michigan. Signed with the Patriots in '96, and the rumor is he did that so he could be closer to WWF headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut.
Smart.
He also is a Bill.
I also heard that he taught Tom Brady everything he knows. That's just what I heard.
He was a Bill, and he was actually in a Super Bowl for the Bills at Super Bowl 28, which of course means he lost.
Yikes. Yep.
He trained with Dan Severn and Sabu, both other Michigan natives. He was the future of TNA. And he went to WWE, CW, became Marcus Corvan. A lot of people remember him more for his theme music, but I know he left because he wanted to take care of his sick sister. I mean, it's a good reason, but he left a lot on the table. He's one of those I still wish would come back every so often, but his credit, he has stayed away. Then another local favorite for us, we have Alex Karras. Some of our older fans may know of him. He went to 4 Pro Bowls with the Detroit Lions. He actually wrestled between 62 and 64. He was forced to do this because he admitted to gambling and was suspended from the league. He spent
Him and J-Mo get along.
He spent a lot of time fighting guys like Dick the Bruiser, another former NFL player. Here in the Midwest, makes sense because he had the fans behind him. And then you've got someone like Brian Pillman. I know his big thing was, being at Miami of Ohio. Apparently while there, he was roommates with John Harbaugh. But he did have some playing time with the Bengals and the Bills. And I know Jim Ross's big thing for Pillman was for the All-American position for defensive tackle. The only person ahead of Pillman was William Perry. So that's why Jim Ross knew that Pillman was such a good defensive tackle. He did have a lot of heart, but small man, especially at that time. But he always did wear those Bengals trunks while in the ring. Then you've got
big Bengals fan.
And then we've mentioned him on our profiles before. Ernie Ladd, the Big Cat, 4 AFL All-Star teams, AFL All-Pro, and he won an AFL championship while playing defensive tackle. He was with the Chargers, Oilers, and Chiefs. Of course, Ernie Ladd, more known for his professional wrestling. Commentator, wrestler, manager, WWE Hall of Famer in '95. He's always looked at as that 2-sport athlete because he made it big for both of them. I touch on him too much here, but Ron Simmons, after his amazing time at Florida State, did play or he was selected by the Cleveland Browns. So I mean, it's still, we talked about this beforehand. It's crazy that someone was top 5 in Heisman voting, was looked at as this powerhouse, and he didn't play in the NFL.
Yeah, I don't get it. Like, probably something we're missing here because we weren't alive during the time. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
And of course, everyone's favorite undisputed champion, Universal Champion, Bill Goldberg. He was a Ram, Falcon, and he was one of the Panthers picks when they first came into the NFL. He was an original Panther. He did not play for them, but still, I mean, there's a little history. One of my favorite NFL wrestling crossovers is Wahoo McDaniel. He was a U.S. heavyweight champion 5 times. He was a legend all over the squared circle. He was AFL with the Oilers, Broncos, Jets, Dolphins, and Chargers. The announcer, whenever he'd make a tackle, would ask, "Who is that?" and the crowd would chant Wahoo. So even as an NFL star, he had the Wahoo McDaniel name. And of course, probably one of the more famous is, of course, Bronco Nagurski, former NWA heavyweight champion. He was a fullback for the Chicago Bears, winning 3 NFL championships. Looked at as one of the largest running backs of his era. He was one of the first NFL players to play both football and wrestle at the same time. And I mean, I think winning an NFL championship and an NWA world title speaks to how talented he was at both, especially at a time when you had to be somewhat legitimate to be a heavyweight champion. You couldn't just, David Arquette it and walking off the street.
Really?
Yeah, I mentioned Dick the Bruiser earlier. He was he was a local star here for wrestling, but he was, unfortunately for Detroit fans, a Packers offensive lineman. He was multiple NWA champions, AWA champion. He wrestled primarily in the Midwest. He was a household name, especially, again, to our older listeners. Fern. Then, he had some others, like I said, your Jim Duggins, your Lex Lugers. They had a couple call from the NFL, but nothing too huge. I think the people that are better when it comes to crossover appeal are the ones that didn't have too much time in wrestling. Like, I don't know if you paid attention a lot when D'Angelo Williams was in TNA Impact, and he was doing splashes off the top rope on people through tables.
No.
Or when Impact was in its infancy and Brian Urlacher came into the ring to help fend off some heels. Also, for Impact, Adam Pac-Man Jones, a very controversial figure. I have to thank him again for that flag that helped the Steelers beat them and get to the playoffs a few years ago. Thanks, buddy. He was actually a TNA tag team champion.
Hey.
But he never wrestled a match. So he was suspended. And like I said, Pac-Man's he's had some issues. He's, and TNA picked him up because at one point he was a Titan, and TNA based out of Nashville, that kind of thing. And I've never really been able to find out. It might be easier than I'm making it sound to find, but I don't know if TNA signed the contract before realizing he couldn't play for them, or if he said he could and he couldn't, so he still made appearances. But he appeared on TNA. Poor Ron the Truth Killings was his tag team partner. He had to really carry the team because, like I said, Pac-Man couldn't fight. He actually he confronted Pac-Man Jones at TNA's Hard Justice, and then at No Surrender, here's this for some trivia for you, Anthony.
Okay.
What 2 people did Pac-Man Jones and R-Truth beat to win the TNA Tag Team Championship?
Okay, what year? Yeah, give me the year at least, because I'm not a
Uh, this would have been around 2007.
2007.
Yeah.
Is it? I think I should know it. Is it? I'm going on a limb. Does it involve a Dudley?
No.
Oh.
No.
As I thought you'd ask me because you're
It's
part Dudley.
Sting and Kurt Angle.
Kurt Angle. Goddamn. So
So
you're
what
telling me
happened-
R-Truth beat Sting and Kurt Angle?
Yeah. So what happened with this? Kurt Angle won a match against Samoa Joe where every TNA title was on the line. Heavyweight, tag team, X division. I forget how. I think they were. Okay. The Dudleys fought Kurt Angle and Samoa Joe in a match to where all the titles were on the line. Angle and Joe won, so they were co-tag champions. They couldn't stand each other, so they had a match where every title was on the line again. So Kurt Angle, as a heavyweight, even though Joe was a heavyweight too, was X Division champion. In one night, he lost the X Division title to Jay Lethal and the tag team titles in this match because he walked away from Sting, even though Sting offered to help him. Of course, Sting keeps getting turned on. R-Truth beat him. Ron Killings beat him. And this was, let's see, that was September 2007. Okay, they only held it for a month. But Styles and Tomko defeated R-Truth and Pac-Man Jones' replacement, Consequences Creed, better known as Xavier Woods. Because TNA knew they were in a bind, and they'd have the tag titles. I mean, TNA was always known for their tag team, so by having someone just stand on the apron, it looked too good. Pac-Man Jones, it was just interesting. Like I said, I remember watching a tag match of theirs on TNA, and Pac-Man stood there. Didn't have to get. I think he tagged in, but he never actually made contact with anyone. But it hasn't just been TNA and WCW, as mentioned earlier, that's had some NFL stars. Of course, WWE. You go back to WrestleMania 2, and you had that amazing, in quotes, NFL Battle Royal.
They should bring that back.
I mean,
I want to see NFL stars today, like compete in one. Like get Myles Garrett in there with like a helmet.
ooh.
Have him start swinging on people.
So Andre the Giant won this, and he last eliminated Bret Hart. This match includes Jimbo Covert, who is a former Chicago Bears player. I believe he was on the '85 Bears. Former heavyweight champion and PWP profile, Pedro Morales. Future Hall of Famer Tony Atlas. Former World's Strongest Man, the first man in history to bench over 700 pounds in competition, Ted Arcidi. Former Dallas Cowboy Harvey Martin. Former tag team champion and inspiration for the Bray Wyatt gimmick, Dan Spivey. Terrible speech giver, Hillbilly Jim. The man called Ming. Former heavyweight champion, future Hall of Famer, Iron Sheik. Member of the famed Steel Curtain, Ernie Holmes. These two don't make sense to me with everyone else in it. Brian B. Blair and Jim Brunzell, the Killer Bees. Giant, Big John Studd. Former Detroit Lion Atlanta Falcon, Bill Fralick. Jim the Anvil Neidhart. Former San Francisco 49er, Russ Francis. Former heavyweight champion, and I'm sure at the time regarded as the greatest of all time, Bruno Sammartino. And of course, future Hall of Famer, William Refrigerator Perry. You kind of see why the Killer Bees don't fit.
Yeah.
I'm sure this match was. I'm sure they selected strong people because this was especially at a time when you didn't want to let people know the business was fake.
Right.
So that's why
Kayfabe's
you've got
real
your
here.
Iron Sheiks. Yeah, your Iron Sheiks, your Big John Studs, your Andres. So that way, if the NFL players get a little too rough, a little too rowdy, they can handle themselves. I still don't get the Killer Bees though. maybe if someone out there is listening, maybe I don't realize something about Brian Blair and Jim Brunzell. I know they were scrappers in their own right. I've heard of stories of Brian Blair fighting people at bars. But they just don't really fit the mold of everyone else, I said. But, everyone's got to get on the card. But this Battle Royal, of course, known for William Perry involved in the WWE Hall of Fame because he goofed Big John Studd and offered to shake his hand and pulled him out of the ring. Literally all Perry did. He did not come back after that. He did not do anything before. He did that one thing. And he got inducted to the Hall of Fame at WrestleMania, I think, 21, which was, even if it was 20, those are like the two star-studded Hall of Fame classes. And he got put in with them. I've never understood it. I remember when he got inducted, I was like, oh, this guy must have done a lot. And I scoured the internet trying to find him wrestling, and there's nothing but that one match.
Sometimes all you need. So that you have
Sometimes
just
that's all you need.
It's just that you have such an impact on like the sport, and
so you're saying if an NFL player has a WrestleMania match, they should probably be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
What about like a main event WrestleMania match?
Of course.
Well, he's not. Lawrence Taylor.
Well, he deserves it.
Of course, he does. I mean, I think if Perry's in, then definitely Lawrence Taylor deserves it.
I think McAfee deserves it too.
I agree. I mean, I think people deserve it more than Perry. WrestleMania 11. I mean, Lawrence Taylor Bigelow. It was a serviceable match, especially again at a time when. So now, for those that know, Logan Paul trains every match. He runs through it with Shawn Michaels. Bad Bunny gets tips from people. I'm pretty sure back then they didn't train them. Like, they taught them basics. They probably sent, like, Pat Patterson to a house and was like, here's a body slam. Here's a kick. And then again, because he's facing Bam Bam Bigelow, who's a legitimate badass, I mean, I can't imagine they taught Lawrence Taylor all the ins and outs, because he even talked about how he was blown up afterward and he didn't realize he needed all the cardio. They could have told him he could have trained more. But it's a serviceable match on a WrestleMania card that also has Undertaker versus King Kong Bundy and Bret Hart versus Bob Backlund and Owen Hart and Yokozuna versus Billy Gunn and Bart Gunn.
Great card.
Yeah. Fun fact, in Lawrence Taylor's corner, because Bam Bam Bigelow had those awful $1 Million Corporation members, Bundy, DiBiase, Kama Mustafa, IRS Tatanka, and Nikolai Volkov. Lawrence Taylor had Giants linebacker Carl Banks, former Saints and 49ers player Ricky Jackson, former Horseman member Steve Mongo McMichael, Ken Norton Jr., a former linebacker for the Seahawks, Reggie White, but the one, again, hometown, Chris Spielman. Yeah.
Spielman. I love Spielman.
So now you're gonna have to go back and watch WrestleMania 11 just to see Chris Spielman.
Fuck. You're right.
Yep.
Thanks.
I know. Who else do we have here? I know Walter Payton actually came out at one point and backed up Razor Ramon. And Ben Roethlisberger, former Raw GM. That's a Hall of Fame if I ever saw one. But I think the biggest recently NFL player making appearances for the WWE arguably would have to be Gronkowski, right? Helped Mojo win the Battle Royal, won the 24/7 title. He hosted Mania. There's rumors he was going to fight at SummerSlam, but Brady called him out of retirement.
Yeah. Well, he's still
He's
good.
got his own action figure.
He does. Well, a lot of people
Yeah,
have their
he's
own
got a
action
WWE
figure. A lot of people have
Yeah, he's
one.
got a WWE one. Not non-wrestlers. I mean, him, Bad Bunny, Dominic, Nicholas, Logan Paul.
Hey, Logan Paul's a wrestler. He retired from boxing to do wrestling full time. Logan,
Full time.
full time. I don't think he's shown up since then.
And-
Has he? I don't know.
I mean, Roman Reigns is full time too, I guess. So
he's
but yeah,
he's
it's-
full time at being part time.
But yeah, there's been list on list. I didn't think there'd be this many actually when I had the idea. I kind of thought it'd be like basketball, where you had your Karl Malone, your Dennis Rodmans, and a couple Raw GMs.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of NFL players, and I think obviously your Gagnes and all them are in the Hall of Fame. As I mentioned, William Perry's in the Hall of Fame. I think there's a chance they put Gronk in at one point just for hosting Mania and winning the 24/7 title. And Lawrence Taylor should definitely be in. I think we've mentioned that before on Hall of Fame videos. It's kind of weird that he's not. I mean, he and Snoop Dogg both won matches at WrestleMania. There's another trivia fact for those out there. Just full of them in this. Yeah, there's been a lot of crossover appeal for both the NFL and WWE, two, as I said before, Thanksgiving traditions of Americana.
Yeah, and it kind of, I guess it can kind of lead us here into our next topic here, which I have scoured the internet for, and we've had wrestlers in the NFL and football players in WWE and TNA, wherever, WCW. Like, what are some like comparisons? Like who is the Tom Brady of the WWE? Have you ever thought about that? Is that a debate you ever had in your head?
You
can say
don't think so, but that's a fun little one to discuss.
Well, Adam Rank on NFL.com decided to do this all the way back in 2014.
Okay.
Yeah, do you know who Adam Rank is, by the way?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I'm sorry. Chicago Bears slappy, so I was glad to see my hometown Lions beat up his team, because he predicted the Bears to beat them, and the Bears to go win 10-11 games this year. So
he always does, and he makes Seth Rollins sad because they do not do well.
No.
No fault of their own. We've kind of agreed that it's some front office issues, but that's for our future NFL podcast.
Yeah, so this one will be a little bit more. This segment will be a little more NFL heavy. So if you don't know football, I'm sorry. So the first one is Tom Brady, and
you said 2014.
2014. Oh, do you want
Cena?
Do you want to take a guess on which one it is?
It's either Cena or Triple H, right?
Nope. Chris Jericho.
Oh.
What? This is the he has like a little
Tom
sense.
Brady.
Well, I'll let you see if you can. If he can save himself, he does explain each one.
Okay.
There was a time when Jericho was the true underdog story, a guy who rose from seemingly nowhere to become a champion. In fact, he was the first undisputed champion in WWE history. But he's gone a long time since he won a title, and now seems more as an elite guy who's just there to put over the other talent. Sound familiar? To show you how magnanimous I can be, I won't ever make a "Did Jericho tape The Rock and Steve Austin's walkthrough to win the undisputed titles" joke. So this is before Tom Brady won again, later in his career.
Yeah.
So,
which is kind of funny because Jericho ended up winning again at AEW.
Yeah.
But
so they're even more alike. So he's right.
So my issue with this is Brady was a 6th-round pick, right?
Yep.
Before he went to the NFL.
Yeah.
Jericho, before he went to WWE, was one of the top faces in Mexico. He led the cruiserweight division in WCW, which helped spike ratings. Like, it's not like he was unknown. I'm trying to think if there's a good unknown that just... I mean, in a way, Cena,
Yeah,
you know?
John Cena is a much better comparison here.
He was unknown. He came into the league. He had to take over for those leaving. Face... Yeah, that's not good.
Not good. All right, the second one.
Not good.
I don't know if you remember Haloti Nada, guard for the Ravens.
Yes, he was a big. He was a rival to the Steelers, but he was such a good player. I remember in Madden you have the fantasy drafts where you can build your team you want, stay within the cap room. He was always a good nose guard to get, and he didn't cost a lot of money.
They compare him. Do you want to take a guess or no?
2014, Haloti Nada.
Yeah.
I don't think he's. Are they like gonna compare him to someone like Mark Henry?
Oh, you gotta. They did. Mark Henry.
Okay.
If you know the words to Henry's entrance music, I think of that every time I see Nada play. It would be cool to have Nada and Henry compete in a bench press contest. You can center your Pro Bowl festivities on this. Oh, don't bother looking it up. Nada did 37 reps on the bench press in the 2006 NFL Combine. Okay, this one's funny. The next one is Andy Dalton.
Red Rocket in 2014. He'd been in the league like about 3 years, I think. Maybe 2 to 3. 2014. Dolph Ziggler.
I think more of the he's going for more for looks here, I'll say.
Oh, Sheamus?
Yeah. Redheads, look, it was Red Dalton or Carson Palmer. For the record, if you base Sheamus on good guy I can't believe people are rooting for, I might have opted for Peyton Manning, but we'll cover the Broncos quarterback.
What? How can someone boo Peyton Manning?
I don't.
What is this guy talking about?
Okay.
I'm sick.
Rob Gronkowski.
Oh, so an asshole. Is that the Miz?
Think asshole, but meatier, beefier.
Beefier asshole?
Yeah. May or may not be dumb as fuck.
Oh, Ryback. Meaty, got it.
Anytime I see Ryback doing that ridiculous shoulder pop and the feed me more thing, I can't help but think of Gronkowski doing this. If you saw Gronkowski trying to land a wrestling maneuver on one of his buddies in the middle of a Las Vegas dance floor earlier this year, he can botch a move just like Ryback.
Oh my god.
Oh, you'll like this one. I don't see the connection here, but Jay Cutler.
Right, so 2014. He's a Bear at this point, yeah?
Yeah, he hit the pictures of him in a Bears uniform.
Alright, so I think they've already turned on him at this point. Yeah, that's one of those ones. Him and Andy Dalton both. Cutler had Brandon Marshall. Dalton had AJ Green. They both started off so good, and then they hit the bed. Jay Cutler. I don't know who they'd compare him to at that point. Who is it?
The Miz.
What?
Both have roots in reality TV shows. The Miz got his big break when he appeared on the MTV's The Real World. Cutler was a well-publicized romance with the Hill star Kristen Cavallari. I don't know.
Stop!
Well, neither are cheered by the masses. Well, not recently. I'm kind of drawn to both of them.
Oh, because he's a Bears fan.
Yeah.
And he probably likes The Miz because The Miz always does like the celebrity fantasy football.
Yeah.
Ugh. That's a bad one.
Tony Romo.
Dallas Cowboys. Booed a lot. Either going to be a Texas connection or getting a booed connection.
Here. I'll read you the thing, then you can guess who it is.
Okay.
Both seem to be poised to be champions, but there's something missing. Probably because both guys are more entertaining through losing than winning.
Is that Dolph?
Yeah.
Jesus.
If you get this one, I'll be shocked. Larry Fitzgerald.
All right, so that's an old guy who has nothing but respect. Are they doing like Undertaker?
No, I'll read it without the guy's name in it, see if you can still get it. This one's I just don't know this one. Blank is one of the best workers in the WWE, and he makes those he works with look better than he should. Much like Fitzgerald and some of the quarterbacks he had, Blank would be one of the best in the game if he had a better team around him, much like Fitzgerald would be. So this guy at the time is in a stable.
Is it Drew McIntyre?
Close. It's Heath Slater.
What?
See, Drew McIntyre probably would have been a little bit better for like a 3MB member. I guess at the time, maybe I don't know. We're still pretty young at this time. Maybe people thought that Heath Slater was gonna be the one to break out of that group. I don't know.
I don't understand.
Oh, this one's mean. Blaine Gabbert, former Jacksonville Jaguars quarterback, bust.
Yeah, the first of many quarterback busts of the 2010s for the Jaguars. Do they describe him as a bust?
All they say is jobbers. That's all. That's literally it.
And it's not Heath?
Nope, it's not Heath.
Who would they say?
I'll say it's somebody that's turned their career around recently. Then they're definitely not a jobber anymore.
Oh, is it Kofi?
Nope, it's Zack Ryder.
Oh, Cardona, you got disrespected.
Okay,
you need to call out this Adam Rank.
All right, I think you can get this one. So remember, this is 2014 Legion of Boom. Richard Sherman, Cam Chancellor, and Earl Thomas.
New Day.
Nope.
Oh.
Think somebody that
Give somebody. It's a team.
Yeah.
In 2014.
A team.
The Shield.
The Shield. The Hounds of Justice have pretty much run roughshod over the WWE for the past year, similarly to what the Seahawks defensive backfield did in 2013. Man, I wouldn't give for the defensive backs in the stadium and battle fatigues with Sierra Echo Alpha or whatever.
What three did they list on the Seahawks?
Sherman, Chancellor, and Thomas.
I like Thomas and Chancellor.
If you want the direct comparisons, they have Dean Ambrose as Richard Sherman, Cam Chancellor as Roman, Earl Thomas as Seth.
Kind of funny because my favorite Seahawk out of those three would probably be Earl Thomas. My favorite superstar of those three right now is probably Rollins. I like Sherman the most, and I think out of the three, this might be a hot opinion. I just like Moxley the most out of the three.
Why? Because he bleeds every time?
No, at least he doesn't drink it. But I don't know. I just like what Seth and Roman are doing right now.
Oh, here's a throwback for you. Jared Allen.
Chief Viking and Chicago Bear.
His comparison, they say, Blank is one of the top villains in professional wrestling right now. And the newest monster of the Midway made himself as one of the league's top heels when he jumped ship for the rival Chicago Bears. And to be honest, I love both of them, so there's that.
I get it. Randy Orton.
Bray Wyatt.
Oof. Yeah, that was a big time for Bray. That was before they went away from all this culty stuff and kind of killed the character for the first of many times.
Peyton Manning.
All right, so he already shit on Peyton, so it's probably someone he doesn't like. But what do they say about him?
They can't give it away. Yeah, you could easily reason Manning and Blank are the top of their respective companies right now, though Manning might not be as polarizing figure in the NFL universe as is in the WWE universe. But Peyton's fanboys are just as fervent because both Manning and fans take it way too seriously when you poke fun at them. And further, both could lose in the Super Bowl and WrestleMania, and the fanboys would still feel the same way.
John Cena.
Because John Cena.
Because it's not the Undertaker, because when Undertaker loses, people get mad.
Luke Kuechly.
Oh, I liked him.
Kuechly is on his way to become the best defensive player in the NFL, but only the smartest of NFL fans would even recognize him. Blank is easily one of the most proficient performers not named Daniel Bryan currently on the WWE roster.
In 2014?
Yeah.
Was this before Punk left?
Punk is still here. This is...
Is it CM Punk?
It is Cesaro.
Oh, good for... Wow, good for Cesaro getting a little nod there.
Get a little love, we'll take it. Now, I don't know if you remember this guy. Chris Clue. Minnesota Vikings.
Right.
If you want to look him up real quick, I'll let you.
Name sounds familiar.
I think I don't know if he's a punter or a kicker.
Oh, yep. He was the punter.
Yeah.
I'd him.
I don't.
Looks like Sting.
Well, the reason they picked him because he thinks he looks like another wrestler. This goes beyond doppelganger looks. Clue is outspoken, and his words have probably kept him from getting back into the NFL.
Is that one Punk?
Yep. Punk or Phil Brooks, as you might know him now, is in a similar situation with his company. Both are two favorites, and I long for their return.
Yeah, no you don't, buddy.
Nope.
I'm just gonna go back in time and tell him.
The Matthews brothers. So Clay Matthews and his brother, I don't know Clay Matthews' brother's name, played for the
Is
Eagles.
it Jake?
Sure.
I think it's Jake.
I don't know.
It's gonna be a brothers, obviously.
Uh-huh.
Are they the Usos?
Think of some. Okay, well, think of the Matthews. They also have a dad that played in the NFL.
Yeah. Had a dad. I mean, Usos still work for that.
Well, they don't say it. That's not their whole personality.
Oh. Odie and Dustin, huh?
Yeah. I'm just going to try to figure out which one is Goldust. It's going to be Clay, right? But in any event, all four of these athletes have legacies that have followed their fathers in their respective professions.
Poor boys.
I do not remember this guy. Brandon Mabane.
Brandon McBain.
I think he was a defensive tackle for the Seahawks.
Looks like
And
he was also a Charger.
so I'll say this.
Yep, he was drafted by the Seahawks, and he played for the Chargers. What about him?
Mabane was the winner of the NFL AM's annual Dancing with the Starters contest.
Uh-huh.
So that's why they put him with this guy.
Brodus Clay.
No! The other guy that dances.
Fandango.
Yep, there you go.
I just figured Brodus Clay because they're both fat. And neither of them are memorable. Fuck tires.
He says, and well, do I have to explain this one any further? Because dancing, one of our editors, Tyler, reasoned Pat McAfee would have been a better choice here. Philip Rivers.
Bunch of kids. Can't win the big one. Well, Dolph's already done.
Both Blank and Rivers are much better, and I would say at the top of their game when they're playing the bad guy.
Yeah, Triple H.
Close. 1 degree of separation here.
Randy Orton.
Randy Orton, yep. Philip Rivers is Randy Orton.
And they have a bunch of kids, too.
Yeah, well, have you seen Randy's wife? Ray Lewis.
That the Undertaker.
No.
I just figured the veteran everyone respected.
And to talk about this person came back for one last title run, way past his prime when he did it. The same could be said for Ray Lewis, who won a Super Bowl in his final season.
What? Before even the wrestling comparison, saying Ray Lewis was past his prime, all he did was play. Oh fuck. Came back for one more title reign. Is that one Triple H?
It's The Rock.
In 2014, you're still referencing The Rock?
Yeah, because WrestleMania 30 hasn't happened yet on this article.
Oh.
It's like the week before WrestleMania 30. This article came out.
Oh. So this is the beginning of 10 years of thinking The Rock appear.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Here's speaking of a hometown boy here, Ndamukong Suh.
Oh.
Both
said Mark Henry.
Both looked the part. One looks like he should be the best player in the game, and the other looks like he should be the best in the ring. But in the end, both are hovering around the field/ring, taking cheap shots and drawing the ire of fans everywhere. So I want you to think long and hard about this one. Who is somebody wrestling fans fucking hated at this time, right before WrestleMania 30? They hated. They said he
looks like he should be.
Looks like he should be great, but he's out of shape, which I don't believe was accurate. No. I know you can get this one. I know you can get it. He looks
great.
Looks like Big Show does not look. Big Show does not look like he should be the best in the league.
I was just thinking because his size, he looks like he should be before 30. You said this is a week before.
Week before 30.
Probably Dave Bautista.
Yep, and they ended it with Sutista.
Oh.
I think I remember reading this article back in the day, because that Sutista thing sounds so familiar to me.
These are awful.
Just a couple more here. Roger Goodell.
Oh, is that Vince? I mean, that seems easy.
Both might catch heat from the fans, but they always smartly do what's best for business.
Oh, is that one Triple H?
Yep, Roger.
Finally.
Triple H is off the board. Here's I think this is your favorite player of all time. Troy Polamalu. I know you like him.
Yeah.
I got you that. Did I get you that Polamalu shirt from wherever?
You gave me the Super Bowl one.
I thought it was a Polamalu one, like a Polamalu Super Bowl one.
I've got it on my wall. I thought it was just a normal Super Bowl one. Maybe that's why it's turned. I've never seen the back. Nothing against the guy, but I mean, Christ, for like 5 years, he would be hurt for half the year, and then he'd come in and make one play. The one he dove over the lineman. The one he got the one-handed pick. The one he dove for the pick. And it would just be shown over and over. And the Steelers were good at this time, so they had more film they could have used.
Yeah. So you weren't a fan of him being on the Madden cover?
No.
Oh, here, you'll like this one then. Maybe not. This might actually piss you off. Both performers have lived off their mystique for some time now, but the fans still mark out like no other when either of them appears. Although the two now have distinctly different contrasts in hair, they are very similar. It is the Undertaker.
How would you not do the Undertaker Ray Lewis comparison? They're both veterans. They're both respected throughout their respected leagues, And I mean, Ray Lewis killed a man, and Undertaker used to have a teardrop tattoo. So
Ray Lewis killed a man, and the Undertaker is the dead man. So
that's true.
yeah. Two more.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson.
Kind of fresh face baby. Who?
Wilson was a third-round draft pick who didn't look the part of an NFL quarterback. Some said he was too small to succeed with the current giants of the league.
Is this one Dana Bryan?
Yeah. Bryan has fought through the
Man.
same stereotypes since he walked into WWE as a contestant of NXT. Despite years of success as an independent wrestler, Wilson, of course, proved the skeptics wrong with a victory in the Super Bowl. I forget which Super Bowl that was, 48. Bryan looks to do the same
The one
at WrestleMania 30.
where was that the one where the interception was thrown
No, it's the one before
and the
that.
Seahawks won?
It's the one before that.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. You said he won. Yeah, I remember that because that's our third roommate acted like he was a Seahawks fan because you were a Seahawks fan. So I remember I
Bandwagon.
I watched
I
the
bandwagon them in the
Yeah.
playoffs.
I watched the Super Bowl in my bed. You watched it on your TV. He watched it on his. And when I saw that the Seahawks lost, I busted out and I went past you and I went up to him and I said, "Fuck the Seahawks," and then I walked away.
Well, like also that was I don't want to I try not to rip on him too much here, like on the record here.
Yeah, in case he listens.
But that was the year, if you remember, every sport team I loved, and he would just watch like an important game with me, and they'd lose. So like that year, my best friend, he was a senior like at our high school, and for some reason like the playoff game was like on TV or like on the radio or something. So I was listening to it, and for some reason he was like wanted to watch it with me or listen to it with me, and we fucking lost. Then the Red Wings made the playoffs that year. He wanted to watch it. We lost. The Pistons got swept. I think the Lions got beat in the wild card that year too, because that was 2014.
That was great.
Yeah. So literally everything I loved that year.
You were so angry. You went into the bathroom and showered after the high school game, and I remember is he crying? And I go, I mean, he's got friends on that team, so he's probably a little upset. It's just football. You want to go get lunch while he's in, or go get food while he's in the shower? I go, no, that's okay. That's okay.
Fuck him.
How fun. But yeah, I do. I remember that. I remember blowing past you. Probably the actual. I mean, you said bandwagon Seahawk fan, but you liked it more than he did, and I made sure to go right to him and fuck the Seahawks.
Last one, Charles Woodson. Both are highly regarded as superstars who might be past their championship prime, but have stuck around for one more game. The biggest question is, will they ever get a chance to hold the gold once again?
We've already eliminated Jericho, which that would have been a good Jericho one.
Mm-hmm.
We've eliminated Taker, which that could have been a good Taker. We've done Cena or Batista. This one better not be Big Show.
No, it's not somebody big. It's like I assumed this guy's like retired around this time ish. I don't remember him doing anything after WrestleMania 30. I don't think he even had a match at 30, I don't think.
Who was it?
Christian.
Oh, I think he got hurt right before or right after. Remember he got hurt. Is it Battle Royal? No, I think he was champion. He's gonna be champion. Let me look it up. I know there's a Battle Royal involved, and he had to vacate. And that's weird. I just went to his Wikipedia, and his career is just AEW.
Really?
Yeah, like people took off all the WWE stuff. Like that's in the beginning part.
Let's see. What a scandal.
the hell? I was gonna figure out. I click this. All right, so I just went to another one, and I've got his full. I don't know what happened. I'm confused. But anyway,
He suffered a concussion at
that's
the Elimination Chamber.
yeah, in a qualifying match, and at Elimination Chamber, Christian eliminated Sheamus for being eliminated by Daniel Bryan. That's what it was. He won a Fatal 4-Way, and he was going to challenge Big E for the Intercontinental Championship. And then after that, his concussion made it where he started appearing on pre-shows, and he would host the Peep Show, and you could tell they wanted him to come back. And then I remember everyone shit their pants because Jerry Lawler mentioned Christian as retired on Raw, and everyone's like, oh. But Christian's one of those that Tony Khan brought to his, to his toy box, and he got him to be unretired. And I'll still stand by what I said in my last scriptures. I think Christian has been the most important signing from WWE to date.
It's hard to argue.
Bigger than Jericho, bigger than Edge. Technically bigger than Sting because he went from there to there, but yeah. I mean, I guess I don't know if this guy was a Christian mark or what, but hey, I mean, sure. I guess he was right because in the long run, he came back and he won another title with AEW. So
Yeah, just waiting for.
won multiple.
We'll wait for Woodson to come back too.
Yeah, because he was an Impact champion too. So yeah, I'd love for Woodson to come back. He's just one of those that would kind of go out there and play. Both Woodsons, Charles and Rod, they'd go out and play, be quiet, and do their job.
Yeah.
Kind of like Christian, I guess. So, you know what? That's one good comparison. Good for you, Adam Rank. Good for you.
Yeah, so that was 22 WWE and NFL comparisons from Adam Rank,
From our freshman year.
NFL.com. Yeah. What a time that was.
What a time. That was 2014. But we're looking 10, 20, 37 years before that.
Jesus. I don't think there's a listener right now that was alive back then, except
Hey!
the Fred's listening.
Hey! Yeah! How's it going, Fred?
How's work going, Fred?
But of course, what I'm so subtly hinting at on this Thanksgiving episode, Survivor Series versus Starrcade. Starrcade, of course, was the show for NWA, WCW. It had some of the biggest matches, especially in Ric Flair's career. He had to have headlined most of them. He started facing Harley Race. He fought Dusty Rhodes 2 years. He fought Ron Garvin. He was a part of a round robin tournament. He did it all. And there's been interesting history. Most people know, if they're listening to this, about the WrestleMania history where Vince bought Georgia Championship Wrestling, made it WWF. People hated it being there, hated having that time slot. So then he made the Crockett's buy it back. And the money they gave him pretty much funded WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So had the Briscoes not sold, then there's a chance. I mean, I think that's the best chance of WCW being around today. The Crockett's hold on to it. Then 87, their third, 1, 2, 3. It's going to be Ric Flair versus Ron Garvin. Ron Garvin had just won the NWA title in Detroit, Michigan. The story goes they wanted a challenger for Flair, but Flair had beaten everyone. There's a couple people he could have faced, but they didn't want Flair to beat them, and they wanted something big to happen. So why not have Flair drop it a little bit before, just win the title back? Makes sense. Crockett was hoping 87 would be their year, because you figure WrestleMania 3 had just happened, so they're hoping get those numbers up, especially since they just bought the UWF, which was Bill Watts' promotion, so they got the rights to Sting, Rick Steiner, TBS, then had more interviews on its shows than Jim Crockett ever had before, and they were starting to offer guaranteed contracts. They're hoping this Starrcade was going to be one of the best they had. But WWF announced it would be adding a second annual pay-per-view, a fall complement to WrestleMania, none other than the Survivor Series, which would have entirely elimination tag team matches. So just some fun matches, no title ones, so that way family gathering around Thanksgiving table, they'd have something fun to watch. This was intentional on Thanksgiving. They could try and block Starrcade. Jim Crockett countered this. They moved Starrcade to the late afternoon, early evening. Seemed like everyone would win. It was said that cable companies offered a package deal and they'd make more money. I think that's the craziest part of this. Like, these two companies are feuding, and the cable companies shouldn't. They're like, yeah, you buy one, you can have the other. I'm surprised cable companies didn't get just trouble for that kind of shit.
That would be so dope today. Like,
I want it just for the streaming. Like, yeah, I bought Peacock. Can I get that Warner Brothers streaming too, so I can have AEW?
well, they kind of do it, but it's all the Disney one does it. They have Hulu, ESPN, and
That's true.
Disney Plus in a bundle. I'm just talking about. Imagine if Survivor Series and Full Gear were on the same weekend. Like Full Gear was Sunday, or Survivor Series was Sunday, and Full Gear was Saturday. I'll pay $80 and watch both of them instead of paying $60 for each. I guess that's where we're going to pay-per-view route. Obviously, streaming is different now with Peacock.
What I wish is that they'd go back to this. I love elimination matches. We mentioned on here before that I used to do the universe modes quite a bit.
Yeah.
And the one thing I look forward to is I do Survivor Series, and I would take my feuds, and even sometimes I just take teams, and I would have every match be a 6-man elimination tag, except the main event, which would be an elimination chamber. And it would take a long time to go through those matches, but it was fun. It was, and going back and watching, especially the early days when people would team up and they'd have the team names. The one was just the Warriors, and it was Ultimate Warrior, the Road Warriors, and the Modern Day Warrior, Kerry Von Erich, excuse me. So it was just fun, and even some of them they do now. I think when you think Survivor Series matches, if you eliminate the Elimination Chamber, I mean, in recent time, the better matches have been those multi-man ones. When they did Raw SmackDown versus SmackDown versus NXT, when you had the Authority versus Team Cena, there's just even the WWF versus Team WCW and ECW, still a good match. There's just something about they managed to find the right people to put on each team. I love going back and watching them. I like that there's a playlist on Peacock of the best elimination men's matches. I kind of like that they've incorporated its history with War Games being NWA, and then Survivor Series having the elimination, the teams. I'm a little confused why there's not more tag matches this year. I mean, you've got the War Games match, but you also have the LWO stable imploding.
Yeah. Well, it seems like they're moving from like the elimination match to War Games now.
Yeah.
Year, which is fine.
Makes
for
me
now,
mad.
I guess. Until
But like I
we
said,
do War Games every year now.
that's what killed it in WCW. But like I said, you've got the LWO imploding, you've got the Bloodline feuding with people. You don't have to have Roman there, since I know Roman's not fighting. You could have other people like Braun Breaker, or you could have brought in other Samoan members. Trying to think throughout the shows. You could put New Day and another team together. Like, they have the people and they have the teams, especially since they have tag team feuds right now. But just something they don't do. But going back to this fight, the WWF refused to let the cable companies ruin their plans, and they actually gave an ultimatum. If they carry Starrcade, they won't get WrestleMania 4. Which, coming off of WrestleMania 3, this was a big threat. Like, this isn't just coming off of WrestleMania 1, which was closed circuit, had some numbers, or WrestleMania 2, which was a little odd since it jumped from, arena to arena. This was after 3.
Right.
The largest wrestling show. Hulkamania is at its peak. I mean, you don't want to lose that. Especially, the income generated by WrestleMania. And unfortunately for Jim Crockett, almost all of the cable companies agreed. So at this point, the WWF kind of had Jim Crockett in a stranglehold. Only 4 cable companies carried Starrcade, and 3 of them were in Jim Crockett's home base, and the other was in San Jose, California. So there's no way Starrcade could be a pay-per-view success. It had about 20,000 orders for 3.3% buy rate. And it was funny because fans of the Carolinas, which was its home, rejected the show getting moved to Chicago. So which means a lot of the people there didn't purchase it. And then the matches were iffy. It wasn't anything great like that first Survivor Series. Some people call this the beginning of the end. But I think there's more that went into it. And after this, Starrcade actually got moved to the week of Christmas.
Smart move there.
Yeah, so it went from being that Thanksgiving tradition of Crockett, and they got bullied. So WWF's biggest show got created because they bullied Jim Crockett into paying them for the slot. And Jim Crockett's biggest show got moved because they got bullied by Vince McMahon and his stranglehold on the cable companies. So I just want to put this out there. So when the when WWE makes a joke at AEW's expense now, or when Tony Khan is on Twitter calling Triple H and Shawn Michaels bald assholes, it could get a lot worse.
Yeah.
Ask the Crockett's. Not only ask the Crockett's, ask the Gagnes. Ask the Turners. This was not uncommon for Vince to do. I figure before going away, we can look at the cards of these competing shows. So, as I said, Survivor Series 87 was the first Survivor Series. In the first match, Brutus Beefcake, Jake Roberts, Jim Duggan, Randy Savage, and Ricky Steamboat with Miss Elizabeth defeated Danny Davis, the referee, Harley Race, Hercules, Honky Tonk Man, and Ron Bass with Bobby Heenan and Jimmy Hart. In the next match, Fabulous Moolah, the Jumping Bomb Angels, Rockin' Robin, and Velvet McIntyre defeated Dawn Marie, no, not that one, Donna Christianello, the Glamour Girls, and Sensational Sherry, also managed by Jimmy Hart. So Jimmy Hart 0-2 on the day. The British Bulldogs, the Killer Bees, the Fabulous Rougeaus, Strike Force, and the Young Stallions, fuck Paul Roma, defeated the Bolsheviks, Demolition, the Dream Team of Dino Bravo and Greg Valentine, the Hart Foundation, and the Islanders with Bobby Heenan, Mr. Fuji, Jimmy Hart, Johnny Valiant, and Slick. So literally every bad manager. This was a 10 on 10 tag team, and the night ended. Even though the babyfaces had won every previous match, Andre the Giant, Butch Reed, King Kong Bundy, One Man Gang, and Rick Rude with Bobby Heenan and Slick defeated Hulk Hogan, Bam Bam Bigelow, Don Morocco, Ken Patera, and Paul Orndorff. So nothing special. You got to see Hogan and Andre again. This is when Savage was becoming a babyface. The women got promoted, which isn't something that happened at that time. And like I said, nothing to really shake stick at. It's definitely memorable history-wise, but I think that versus Starrcade, I wouldn't have necessarily. I think I would pick Starrcade because the first match, you had Eddie Gilbert, Larry Zbyszko, and Rick Steiner went to a no contest with Jimmy Garvin, Michael Hayes, and Sting. And you had Dr. Death Steve Williams defeating Barry Windham for the UWF Heavyweight title. The Rock and Roll Express defeated the Midnight Express in a Skywalker's match, which is up on the scaffold. This is the one where Jim Cornette famously says Big Bubba, who was Big Boss Man, was supposed to catch him. And they told him it would happen because Cornette was deathly afraid of heights. Big Bubba had sunglasses on and missed his mark. So Cornette landed with both feet on the mat, shattering both ankles. Keita Koloff, NWA champion, defeated Terry Taylor, UWF TV champion. Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard defeated the Road Warriors. This is one of those head-scratching matches. They defeated them by disqualification. The Road Warriors were the team that always got screwed by the heels, and fans kind of got tired of it. The American Dream Dusty Rhodes defeated Lex Luger in the cage for the NWA US title. And as I said, Ric Flair defeated Ron Garvin, also in a steel cage, for the Heavyweight Championship. Now, I don't know about you. Sounds like a better card than Survivor Series.
Well, you like that wrestling, that Southern wrestling. I'm more of a sports entertainer myself.
Okay.
So.
Yep, I get it.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, sports entertainers usually like women's wrestling more, and there's no women's wrestling on the Jim Crockett card.
Yeah, because they're sexist. They're sexist Southern pigs.
WWF started the women's revolution.
They did. Single-handedly. Stephanie McMahon came out and started it.
Yeah, she saw Survivor Series 87 and said, I need more of that.
Yeah. It was inspirational, influential, awe-inspiring.
The
real domino effect.
Interesting. As Ric Flair and Ron Garvin, the main events of this, I got to meet both of them and pose with their respective big gold titles.
Yeah.
So in a way, I was involved.
You were essentially there.
I was essentially there.
Yeah.
Didn't get that Ric Flair autograph though, but I was essentially there.
Well,
we were at the.
Only if you would have gotten in line quicker, you would have been there.
Yeah. This was one of the last Jim Crockett Starrcades. And funny enough, the two gentlemen we met was at the last good Starrcast.
Hey, now.
So again, little connection there.
Wait, isn't that this weekend?
What?
Starrcast.
Is it? I thought it already happened.
Oh yeah, you're right. It was for it was All Out Chicago.
Yeah.
I thought it was. I was just thinking of Chicago. They went to Survivor Series.
Yeah. You didn't hear how bad it was, and how they probably won't ever do another one. And because they partnered with AEW, and it was pretty much just AEW people in Rodman. It did not rake in the money like it was supposed to. Allegedly, I'm no banker. I don't know. Maybe Conrad had to give up that private jet, but maybe that's why Ric Flair went to AEW.
or they should just went to Detroit and SummerSlam.
They should have. They could have done. They could have done Starrcast and combined it with WrestleCon, and Everyone would have won, but instead they decided to be with AEW. They took talent from WrestleCon. Nobody won. Except my brother in that picture where he's giving Sting fuck me eyes. I mean, no other way to put it. No other way to put it.
So you're saying Sting's a pedophile? Is that what you're saying?
No. I'm saying my brother gave Sting fuck me eyes.
Yeah, but
Sting did not give him Sting. Sting wanted no part of it.
Sting did not
didn't wanna be
reciprocate.
there.
So Sting's a jerk. That's
Sting-
what you're saying. He didn't reciprocate the feelings, so
Sting-
he's a jerk.
Sting got there about an hour late, and he left about an hour and a half early. So
He did the same thing to me when I met him, like 2 years ago.
yeah, he did not want to be there.
He does not want to be in Detroit. I don't blame him.
I don't blame. The only people I blame is Conrad and Starcast. And I guess after this little history lesson, we can blame WWF on Starcade's downfall because
And
the
Starcast
card wasn't bad.
downfall.
Yeah,
Blame him for
I mean
both.
this card wasn't bad. It just seems they got blackballed, which is unfortunate. But Vince McMahon does what Vince McMahon does, and that's why Vince McMahon retired, came back, essentially had to retire again. Now he's just he's like the minor villain because he talks to the Saudi people. He's the middleman. But
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
What did the Saudis ever
I'm
do?
sure,
What did the Saudis ever do besides 9/11? Bet you can't name one single thing.
I don't think you can say that. But
Sure, I can.
But I'm sure the Saudis are thankful for Vince McMahon for bringing over some great wrestling, some great crown jewel. Just like we are thankful that we do not have to recap every show and pay-per-view.
Was that what you're thankful for?
But
I was going to ask you.
I will.
I was going to ask you what you're thankful for as we wrap up here.
I will say I'm also thankful that I think I've predicted ending a Survivor Series. So if people don't want to waste their time with it, babyfaces are going to win because if you haven't noticed, Cody wants to be Dusty real bad, so he's going to start the match, and the heels are going to have the advantage because they won on Raw. Cody's going to blade. He's going to bleed. Babyfaces will win. Orton will probably get the pin, so he can be Mr. Survivor Series. And then somehow, I haven't figured this part out yet, Seth Rollins is going to get laid out. Whether it's Randy Orton laying him out and saying, I want that title, or, Randy Orton fighting Jey Uso, because I don't know if you saw Jey Uso put an Instagram post of the Bloodline and said when things were good.
Yeah.
You've been away from them for 3 months. You can't go back. But, say something happens, Seth Rollins gets laid out, and then, the announcers go, wait a minute, what's happening? And Priest is getting in the ring. Rhea Ripley puts a ref in there. The rest of Judgment Day gets in. They lock the cage behind him again. Priest wins. And then the next night, Rhea Ripley comes out. And, we may have lost the war, but we won the Survivor Series. And then every member of Judgment Day except dumbass JD will hold up a title. Oh, except... yeah, because McIntyre is not an official member yet. So Priest will have 2, Balor will have 1, Dirty Dom will have 1, Rhea will still have hers, because there's no way she's losing to fucking Stark. And yeah, that's how it'll be. And Priest will probably hold it till, I don't know, Rumble, and then they can have a real champion.
Yeah. See, now your Saturday night's freed up. Now you don't have to watch that fake wrestling shit. You can go do whatever.
Yeah. You can be in another turkey coma.
Yeah.
You can get some more shopping done because Black Friday doesn't really matter anymore because the deals are all online and
Black Friday week.
yeah, exactly. Go on a Saturday
Or just don't go. Fuck them.
or don't go.
Don't go.
I mean, that's coming from someone who works for one of these retail establishments.
Unfortunately.
Just don't go.
Yeah, dude, we don't even want to see you there. Like, I'd rather have an empty store
You're all
than a
probably
packed
ugly.
store. Most of them are. I'll be honest. I'm not saying I'm a looker
Also, could use
myself,
that
but
PWP deodorant.
we should start selling them at the store. We'll start bringing them in, start handing them
Yeah.
out.
What at the store? I mean, our Etsy store?
That we can do it at that store too.
Yeah. I mean, what a good stocking stuffer would a PWP shot glass be? Or, I mean, if you want to do more than a stocking stuffer, we got T-shirts. We got a nice bomber jacket. We got some stickers you can put in the stocking or on someone's brand new Yeti cup for Christmas. We got some pins. You can get the Logan scripture book, which, I had one and I can't find it.
You already lost it.
I already lost it.
Oh my god.
I'm sure I'll find it. I'm gonna have to find it for the upcoming 10th Logan scripture. We've had 10 of them. People that I talk to that listen to the podcast seem to like them, seem to like the ideas. I've tried sending and tagging certain wrestlers that are involved to see if maybe we get a little thumbs up or a little acknowledgement. Like, oh, that's pretty cool. Even if they don't listen to it, nothing yet.
Don't worry, we'll keep
could
trying.
happen.
We'll keep trying.
But I do also know with it becoming the end of the year, that means our top 25.
Oh shit, you're right. It's almost December.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, and on some of the more recent podcasts, you've heard him talk about it. I mean, our top 25 is a big deal. Speedball Mike Bailey was number
22.
22 on the PWP top 25 of 2022. It was a mouthful, but he said it. Thanks again, Mike. Will be one. Will be left off the list. It's fun watching the comparisons from previous years, seeing who gets left off and who just skyrockets to the top. And I mean, who doesn't feel honored when they're in our top 25?
I would. I think it's the most prestigious list. It's better than the PWI.
And it's accurate
It's accurate.
because I mean, I don't pull any punches.
I think
Plus,
we're
some
fair
people
and accurate.
retweet it. I think so. And besides that, I mean, we have that upcoming Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth podcast. We also have some other ideas for the future, and we're like you said, we're already almost in December. Which once December's over, here comes January. January's over. Here comes February. You know what started in February of this year? The PWP Express.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the World Cup that we started.
Oh, no, I was talking about how we went to the Great Lakes Comic-Con in February of this year. So, I mean, there's a chance February of this year we'll have something. You'll have to check our socials, and, if you see us and you want to stop us and take a picture, go for it. But yeah, we also, eventually, we have to figure out that live stream for the World Cup so we can finish it up. It started off strong. We were doing good, and it was a lot. Not only for Anthony to edit, but for us to sit and watch. Because after a while, the AI just kind of does the same moves,
Yeah.
and we don't have that Jim Ross sassafras mindset to make a small move seem important, or to like pornography and not realize people can see it.
Not yet, anyway. I think we're a couple years away from that one.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot on the horizon. Like I said, pay attention to our socials. If you're listening and you're not following us on any of our platforms, I mean, especially YouTube. Our YouTube, we might seem like a small number, but we're at 114 subscribers, and I know last year we were maybe in the 20s, 30s.
Like 15.
Yeah, we've gained a lot. So, always got new stuff going on there. I've got some new profiles in the works. And, if you're on our Facebook, because only our Facebook followers have this and get to see it, I do post those magazine memories articles and the Detroit stories every so often. So everywhere you are, there's something different for you. Not just a one-stop shop. We don't just repost the same things on every social like some of those other podcasts.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but I guess before we go, you mentioned it earlier. Anthony, what are you thankful for?
I'm thankful for Hulkamania, brother.
You know what? I am also thankful for Hulkamania.
Thank you, dude. Have a happy Thanksgiving, brother.
Beats out, brother. Andre was 800 pounds when I slammed him, brother.
Yo, Hulkamaniacs! It's Thanksgiving night, and this is the happiest time of year for all the maniacs, brother. You know, me and all my little Hulksters, we got a lot of things to be thankful for. Number one, we're thankful for being happy and very healthy. We're thankful for having time to share with our loved ones. We're also thankful that Hulkamania is still the strongest force in the universe. And after the turkey's done, after the blessings are all done, I can tell you what the Hulkster's mostly happy about. It's Survivor Series time, and I'm thankful for my team of Hulkamaniacs.
I'm thankful because I'm rich and you're not.
I'm thankful for having Damien and the DDT.
You know what we're thankful for?
We don't have to fight each other.
Oh, yeah. I am thankful that I am the only man worthy of being the Macho King. Oh, yeah. I'm thankful for the privilege of living right here in the good old US of A. Tough guy. I'm thankful I've got the big earthquake on my side.
What I'm thankful for Thanksgiving, for my polka dots.
I'm thankful for the justice I serve.
I'm thankful for wrestling, cutting, and strutting.
I'm thankful for my good looks.
I'm thankful for having the most ravishing body in the WWF.
I'm thankful because I ate Ricky Rude.
I am thankful for being the world's smartest man.
I'm thankful for being absolutely perfect.
Yeah, we're thankful for having sardine stuffing in our turkey tonight.
I'm thankful for spending Thanksgiving with all the members of the Heenan family.
Thanksgiving every day, but especially this day, as the Warriors give me the intensity to deliver the power at Survivor Series. It is going to be a war!